I spent a good amount of time carefully scouring through the woods looking for the perfect tree. Thankfully I came across this one, which I was able to cut these 2 logs from, and hopefully these 2 logs are going to become a wooden pack frame. To get started, I've got to get busy working this big log with my hatchet. These logs were cut from a poplar tree that was blown over by the wind, I'm assuming sometime during the winter, perhaps even in the fall. The wood is still slightly green, but most of the moisture has left it. Poplar is a relatively soft wood. It's very light, which should be nice for constructing a pack frame from. And even though it's soft, I think that it's going to be plenty strong enough to withstand the abuse that this pack will go through. I was very specific about which tree I used for this project. I was looking for one that had a natural curve to it. Fortunately, this tree had a nice big section where there's a natural curve in the wood. For this pack frame, I'm going to be using curved pieces of wood, and since I now have a naturally curved piece of wood, it's going to save me from having to bend wood myself. This tree also has a bit of character to it. Towards the top, you can see lots of claw marks where black bears were climbing in this tree at one point. Well, I got my first board roughly shaped out. This poplar is quite nice. It's got a relatively straight grain, so shaping it down to this size is quite easy actually. This is a good starting point for me. Now I just have to refine it a bit and get it down to the exact size and shape that I need for my pack. Luckily, that storm didn't last all too long. Just using my knife to go over any real rough spots that are left after the hatchet work. And this first part of my pack is actually looking pretty good. It's nice and square, relatively uniform in width, and of course, nice and straight, which is exactly what I need. Now, this pack I'm making is going to heavily resemble a Trapper Nelson pack. Very classic design. Of course, it's going to be a little bit different because I'm sizing it according to my own body so that it fits me perfectly, and the actual pack that I will be making for this frame is going to be a little bit different as well. But in order to continue on, I'm going to need another one of these, so it's back to work with the hatchet, shaping the other half of this log. I don't know what it is about shaping a piece of wood with hand tools, but to me it's very satisfying. My 2 uprights are now complete. Now I've got to make the cross members that will run between the 2 of them, and that is where my curved piece of wood is going to be used. Now to do this properly, I've really got to be careful, use lots of wedges to really control the split. Much to my surprise, that actually worked out pretty well. I got 2 splits made, got 3 pieces of wood, all of which have a nice gentle curve to them. I need to make 3 cross members for my pack frame, so now it's time to get busy with the hatchet once again. Well, it certainly is no quick task to shape wood with a hatchet, but it is quite enjoyable. So far I've managed to get my 3 cross pieces roughed out. Really I did this just to make sure that they were all consistent with their curve, and they're looking pretty good. Obviously right now they're still quite thick, but now that they are all shaped out roughly, I can go through the refining process once again, slim them down, get them nice and even, symmetrical, and ready to use for my pack frame. The first curved board is complete. Turned out pretty good. It's nice uniform thickness, good uniform width. Got a knot in it, so it's got a little hole right here, which is kind of unique. Adds a little character. I'm real pleased with how this turned out. Now I've just got to get busy making 2 more of them. The curved cross pieces are now complete. All three of them turned out really good. I'm really happy with how they look. They have a nice uniform curve throughout all three of them. Nice even width and thickness as well. All in all, I'm really pleased with how they turned out. With those three cross pieces done, my two uprights complete, I am now ready to begin assembling this pack frame. So the pack frame, when assembled, is hopefully going to look something like this. Now comes the fun part of trying to line everything up and figure out where each piece needs to be. I'm happy with how everything lined up. Got everything marked out. Now it's time to get busy with the chisel, carving notches for each cross piece. The components of the pack frame are complete, and I must say I'm pretty impressed with how it turned out. All the pieces fit together very nicely, and even without being fastened, it's already quite sturdy. So I'm really pleased with it at this point. All I really have left to do now is do a little bit of finishing work, and then it will be complete. But before I do that, I am going to fasten these pieces together. The pack frame is officially assembled. Probably went a little overboard with the screws, but I don't suspect it'll be coming loose anytime soon. Feels good and solid. no creaking. Just a few finishing touches. It'll be complete. Well, it's been a long process, but I've enjoyed every step of the way. I'm happy to say that the pack frame is now complete. I'm real happy with how it turned out. It feels good and solid when I apply force to it. There's no creaking or cracking. It just feels good and sturdy. So I'm hopeful that I'll be able to get quite a few years of use out of it. I could take it a little bit further and sand down the wood, give it a nice smooth finish, but I really don't mind that there's tooling marks in it. Just evidence that it truly is handmade. The only thing that I will do is give it a nice coat of oil to protect the wood, but other than that, I'm calling the pack frame complete. Of course, a pack frame isn't much use without some shoulder straps and a pack to mount to it, so I still have more work to do. Next up, I'm going to be making shoulder straps so I can carry it, and then a cloth back panel as well. But at this stage, I'm pretty pleased, and I think I'm off to a good start. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll be back right away with the next one. Until then, stay safe, God bless, and happy trails.